We are live. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us again. Another beautiful weather Thursday here in beautiful South Florida. My name is Ernesto Vega. I'm the broker with Campbell's Real Estate. And my co-host today, like almost every other Thursday, is Mr. Ruben Crispino, Intergalactic Manager for CMG Home Loans and in charge of the Prime Group, who oversees the Galaxy and beyond. How are you, Ruben?
Very good. I feel like Buzz Lightyear a little bit when you say
You,
that.
I gotta make sure that we get you one of those an intergalactic,
There we go.
Darth Vader type T-shirt that.
I think
So
I'm gonna
putting all
I'm gonna
joking
get it.
aside, yeah, putting all joking aside. So me and Ruben had a chat earlier this week, about online leads because online leads is a great part of the business for realtors and for loan officers. And we were just sharing thoughts on how there's some agents and loan officers that are fantastic on that. And Ruben has had people that have been killers with lead generation systems like UpCity, and other ones that think that they primarily just don't work. So we sort of spitball back and forth, and I said, Ruben, this is something that is a pain to both of us. Everybody, your side or my side of the business, works with online lead generation system, works with online buyers, and some have success, some have difficulties. So why don't we just chat about your ideas, my ideas on what are good techniques that we have learned over the years for online lead buyers, and I don't call them online leads, everybody. I call them prospects, online prospects. I don't know if Ruben agrees with that. They're
Absolutely.
just poking around. So, Ruben, if you want to do a quick elevator pitch entrance.
Sure. So again, so thank you for having me again. My name is Ruben Crispino. I'm the regional manager for CMG Home Loans, and I also manage the Prime Group. We're here for all your lending needs from A to Z. So today we're going to talk a little bit about leads, online leads, and however you want to call them, as leads or prospects. And Esther and I've been going back and forth a little bit how we can make this process seem less terrifying or to realtors. And the reality is that without prospects, we have no sales. Okay, so regardless of where the prospect comes from, whether it's online, supermarket, family member, or friend, is still a prospect and a lead. So what's been going on more recently? Well, times have changed, right? So one of the things that I see from a lot of loan officers or realtors that say the leads don't work is because they get a little intimidated by the fact that either they didn't call them back fast enough, they're concerned, they don't have a script, they don't know what to say, or they flat out, maybe don't do well on one and then kind of say, well, none of them are going to work. Well, that's not true. The reality is if someone's interested in making a purchase, we have to talk to them. I know in general, there's a lot of new realtors out here, and this is an amazing opportunity for you to sharpen your skills. So regardless of what the result may or may not be, all my loan officers, if they're new, which I don't have a whole lot of new ones, but if they are new, we like them to start off with leads because that's how they sharpen, like you said, the elevator pitch. So there's no downside to working these leads. Yeah, at a minimum, you're going to sharpen your sales speech, your ability to talk to people. So that's step one. Let's not be afraid of them. The quicker you call them, the better. And I think sometimes, again, we're thinking, well, I didn't call them in the first 10 minutes, I'm dead. Well, not necessarily, right? Because just because they were online and you got a warm transfer or the lead came in, 3 hours ago, it's still pretty fresh. So I think you have a little more time than most people think. Obviously, the sooner the better. But actually, the idea of getting somebody on the line while they're still on the computer looking at your listing, I think is kind of tough. Uh, they're busy. They're on the computer looking at your listing. So as long as I think you make the phone call within a okay time frame, which I would say a couple hours, maybe by the next day at most, you should be able to get a hold of them. We're having very good success now with that mantra. In other words, we're getting the leads in and we're calling them, I would say, within 24 hours. Sometimes 1 hour, sometimes 23 hours. Depends when they came in. But we're getting them to answer the phone. Okay, so once they answer the phone, we got a home run, right? Why? Because like I said, it's training for you on your elevator pitch at a minimum. And how do we get them converted from leads to buyers? Okay. Or listing or sellers. Well, things have changed a lot in business, right? The fact that information is available at all times, we can't go back to the old way of selling. The whole thing, coffees for closers, that's gone. That doesn't exist anymore. You know, exactly. It's not that hard sell. We are in a position that we are selling a relationship, not a commodity. Okay. Because if you're looking at the house solely as a commodity, then you'd be a builder, right? Because you're building one house, that's your commodity. It's a different sales tactic. We, as realtors or loan officers, are hoping to sell any house that they'd be interested in, right? So we have to get the relationship very tight with the borrower. And how do you do that? Or the purchaser. And how do you do that? And quite simply, like they say, you need to ask questions. Now, years ago, they used to talk about closed-ended questions and open-ended questions. And as a matter of fact, I think 99% of all Fortune 500 companies still preach this BS. Okay. It's not like that anymore. They used to preach, 1 mile wide and 1 mile deep. Well, it's not like that anymore. We have to really get into and empathize with our borrowers. So you have to know what they're looking for beyond just the neighborhood and price point. We have to have some kind of relationship with them. So my suggestion is to start asking questions. I like spin selling. It's called SPIN. There's a book called Spin Selling. I can coach you on it if you'd like. We might be starting some classes on that next year. It's really come a long way. So spin selling has a little bit of a negative connotation, like you're spinning something to trick somebody, but it's not what it means. And this is kind of what I think we need to use with uh, purchasers. We're selling a big purchase. If you go into a car dealership and you buy a car, it's one thing, and if you make a mistake, you get a new one in 3 years. You make a mistake, on buying a house, it's a little more difficult, to get out of. So I think spin selling is really what I believe in. It's what I teach, our people who are doing the leads, and it seems to be working. Um, so what does spin stand for? S is for situation, right? So the situation, what situation they're in, you're not going to know what situation they're in. Why are they looking at houses online? Why did you get this lead? Well, you need to ask them, hey, I got this information from you. How can I help you? I know you're looking at the property. And they're all going to tell you the same thing. I'm just browsing. Why are you browsing? I'm browsing because I'm thinking about getting divorced, or my wife, or me and my girlfriend are getting married, or I need to find a bigger place because we're having a baby, or whatever it may be. That's where the S comes from in spin. You need to really get in with them, and like the open-ended questions were years ago. This is the first step. I do believe that you must keep a log of these calls. You must put them in your CRM. What doesn't get measured doesn't get closed. You're not going to get better at this if you don't know where you are at the lead and what you owe them. And they say it takes 6 times to follow after 6 calls or more to make somebody a prospect. I don't know. I think it depends how good you are. I think you can close somebody in one conversation. And by closing them, it's not the old school coffees for closers. By closing them, it's building a relationship. I have a relationship now with Mr. or Mrs. Fernandez Smith, whatever it may be, where they're going to purchase a house, they're going to call me. So my suggestion is that we don't be afraid. It's only practice. Make sure that you track your leads and use a spin principle. And I'll go through the rest of what spin means after Leonard and I will talk a little bit.
I'm going to recap for everybody listening. I'm going to recap what you said. I've been using an AI to sort of compile what you're saying. And if anybody wants it, just send me a message and I'll forward it to you. So your response time, Ruben, is 5 to 15 minutes. If the minute that ping comes in from whatever it comes in, your social media, your website, that immediate response need to be in 5 to 15 minutes. You're not saying that if you did it the next day, it's dead, but your chances of closing it or connecting, your chance of connecting with that prospect are better if within 5 to 15 minutes of that they reach out on a specific the product or property. And then you're saying you need to ask qualifying questions. Are you looking to buy or rent? What's your budget? Are you being pre-approved? Are you working with another agent? So you're saying these are the part of the what I call the buyer's consultation that you gotta, you know, that you gotta implement from the beginning. Now, what about a communication plan? Like, let's say we reached out, we connected. Should we put up? Do you think we need to have a plan in place to keep reaching out to these people, even if we connected on the first time? Um, what do you think are the channels? What do you prefer? Call, text, emails? What do you can you expand on what your team does on that?
I think we're trying to make a friend, right? I think, the prospect, we try to make a friend. So I think each one's going to be a little different. You're going to see what's more convenient for them. Some people like the phone call. Some people don't want to be called during working hours. You need to figure this out all in the S of spin. Okay. You need, in your questions, you need to find out, what are your work hours? Can I call you during work? Is it okay to text during work? Can I email? What's best for you? And the reality is that is going to pretty much sum up how you communicate with them going forward. But there are certain things that are basic, right? You gotta track it. We have an Excel spreadsheet that we use. You have to put in your CRM, and that works. The CRM, while sounds kind of crazy, it does work. I mean, we've gotten deals because of the CRM when we come up with a new product or we come up with, a birthday or whatever it may be. So there definitely has to be a plan in place. We do contact them within 2 days, again, after initial contact. The email for us as lenders goes out right away, giving them an email with the list of documents that they're going to need to have us do a pre-qualification. There's also a link on that email to apply online through our website. If they prefer, we can text all this to them also. But again, it's not so simple as hi, bye, send the thing and forget. You gotta make that connection because you can spend a lot of time and effort. If you don't come up with that connection with the borrower or prospect, you're not gonna get them to closing. None of us get paid until closing.
So I just put in the chat what I think it's if I'm recapping what you were saying. I think Ruben's ringtone is "You got a friend in me." I think that's
That's right.
a
Going back
that's
to
a,
Buzz Lightyear and Woody.
you got a friend in me. So right, Ruben. So you're saying daily contacts, whatever method they like better, and the beginning. Follow up with the unresponsive ones for the first 2 or 3 days. The engaged ones follow up daily. Text, call, or email until you can secure that meeting in person. Um, South Florida is very generational. We got people from all ages in South Florida. So we got, you know, let's call them the boomers that are more comfortable talking on email, right? They're
Right.
talking, calling, chatting with you, chatting it up. Um, you got the millennials who want to text and communicate that way. And then you got the Gen Xers like me, we are confused. Email me and I'll get back to you whenever I want to deal with you. So you're saying use the three channels because you never know what is going to be the most effective way to get back. You also mentioned connection. So to you, part of connection, Ruben, is a do you guys personalize those communications, or are there mass communication, or do you personalize them?
You have to personalize them. I mean, it makes no sense, right? Else you didn't do your job. If you don't know their name and you spell the name wrong, let's just start with that, right? If you spell
Oof.
the name wrong on the email,
Yeah.
I mean, if you spell my name wrong, and my name's not that easy because there's like 5 different ways to spell Ruben, I'm done with you. I'm not even, you didn't care enough to spell my name correctly. Number one. And then, yeah, listen, Mr. Smith or Ms. Smith, thank you for taking the time to speak with me. Had a nice chat. I'm happy that you're moving from Chicago to Miami. Good luck in that move. The weather's much better. Something as simple as that is making that connection. Okay. But it can't be Mr. Smith, apply a CMG home loans. No, it's got to be something in there that touches them, that they understand that you are actually, that they're not just a number. If you look at the leads as numbers, and I think again, that's one of the mistakes a lot of people that are working leads. Oh, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. You call 100 leads, you're gonna get 10%. No, that's over. That's over. It's not a numbers game. It's a human game. It's a friendship game.
It's
It's
a
a
relationship game.
relationship game.
It's a
Correct.
relationship game.
And
Okay.
that's why when we lose deals to other realtor or the mortgage companies, the reason is because they're online checking for better rates or better, well, somebody charging a lower commission. And the reason they're doing that because you treated them like a number. If you treat them like a friend, they're not going anywhere else.
So then that falls into the educating the buyer that your side is working with or our side is working with.
Right.
So you believe on sharing, you know, what is the process, what are the options, market conditions, clarity on what's your angle, all of this. Like you are a big believer in educating from the beginning, so sort of create an expectation of what's coming next.
Yeah, we try to go through the process with them, and the process is pretty similar for most. So we definitely do that. And again, we do some hand holding. Sometimes people don't need a whole lot of hand holding. Just everybody's a little different. And that's why you can't look at this as a numbers game anymore, because everybody's different. You have to, like you said, just the technology you have out there that they may or may not want to use, creates that need to be a little different with everybody and kind of tailor make your sales pitch, for lack of a better phrase, for that person. We have language issues here also. We have obviously English and Spanish, two major languages in South Florida. We also, right away can switch from English to Spanish on a heartbeat. We're completely bilingual here, so that's kind of important too. If you're dealing with somebody that's struggling with one language, you may need to partner up with somebody to share the lead with, or like I always say, partner up with us where we can help you with that too.
So now, from my angle, ladies and gentlemen, I think that you need to have, and thankfully through KV Core and with Canvas, you have a great CRM system. But even if you're listening, you're not a Canvas agent or you're not using KV Core, I think you need to have a system of hot leads, warm leads, or cold leads, or hot prospect, warm prospect, and cold prospects. If it's a cold prospect, which I was just browsing, and I'm just not ready looking, and so every 2 weeks, send them something that is engaging and value driven, not a pitch, but a value driven, something that is happening. If they're inquiring about houses in Wynwood and something new is coming up in Wynwood, there's always something new, send them something like that. If it's a warm lead, if it's a warm prospect that, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and apply. I'm thinking about it. I want to get this done before my lease is up in June. Then that's a prospect that every 2 to 3 times a week needs to hear from you, because that is somebody that has sort of a time frame of when they got to pull the trigger. And if you're not the one that's there, like Ruben says, they'll go back online and they'll find somebody else. And the ones that are active, they did the application, they already got the loan app going, they want to go see properties. You got to go start making appointments and showing them homes immediately. There's not a, I'll, oh, I'll follow up. I'll follow up later. I will get back to them tomorrow. No, the ones that are now got across by February, those are the ones that need to hear from you. Hey, I got a showing, I got a property, you got to see, you got to meet me and run with it. Ruben, going back to what you said about you got a friend in me, which literally I'm gonna make that the ringtone when you call me from now on. So you believe that we're in a different part of the market with relationships and trust are gonna determine where these buyers are gonna go. So how do you show expertise, Ruben? How do you show that you are the realtor or the loan officer to work with?
Well, I think first you got to show empathy, right? And I think that's a lot. We all think that we're in big business and tough ladies and tough guys and don't want to show empathy. You need to show empathy first to get an idea of what they want to do. And it's kind of like what you said. So, for example, and I may be wrong on this, I think I'm right, but if you have if you've shown the empathy to know, hey, I'm looking to move from Chicago to Coral Gables. Well, how do you show the knowledge? How do you gain their trust? Oh, by the way, did you know Apple just signed a massive lease to lease I don't know how many square footage in the city of Coral Gables? I think I'm right about that, Ernesto, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
43,000
So
square feet.
right. So the reality is that it's not just individual knowledge about, hey, this is what kind of loans that we have and be a robot, because that they can do online, right? You got to say, oh, you're looking at Coral Gables, Apple's moving in. What else is going on in Coral Gables? Again, you don't have to be an expert in every city that they're looking at, but before you call, take a look at the property they looked at, right? So if they looked at a house in Brickell or a property in Brickell, Have you seen what Mr. Griffin is doing from the Citadel on Brickell? He's changing the skyline, building the tallest tower south of New York. I mean, again, this is just information. I haven't even mentioned alone yet, but that's how you create their trust. And that's how you create what I call emotional deposits in a bank account. Because every relationship, whether it's with your wife, spouse, children, is a bank account. Okay. And that includes the customers. You have to make deposits into the bank account because when you want to withdraw, you got to have money in there. Right. Same thing in every relationship. If you're not giving information, you're not going to be able to get that deal back.
So then be knowledgeable about the market trends, right? Be knowledgeable about pricing in our neighborhoods, and showcase your negotiation strategies. Why you are the professional that they want to work with. I will throw in there, share success stories and testimonials. Everybody that you work with, ladies and gentlemen, you need to get a testimonial or a Google review, or you need to get something that sort of quantifies your value, that they can not just only hear from you, but hear from somebody else that has worked with you in the past. So if you take something away today, take that, build a testimonial legacy. It will pay, like Ruben says, that uh, those deposits will pay out for sure. Ruben, what about consistency when you feel abandoned, which happens a lot? That moment when you're like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
done.
Well, they're
How do
ghosting you,
you
right?
how do you how do you push through to that one?
I mean, again, it's staying on top of it. The CRM does help. Again, you'd also need to go back and analyze what the conversations that you had or the contacts you had and see, okay, what did I miss? What could I have done a little better? And see if you can find a little secret, a little nugget that maybe will allow you to break through that ghosting thing. I like what you said, where, okay, so you've talked to somebody about a property and going back to Coral Gables, and they're ghosting you now. Well, the next article that comes out of another company moving to Coral Gables, shoot it out to them, and maybe that'll break the ice. You got to find a way to break the ice. They call it ghosting. They're basically just creating a wall around you, and you got to find a way to break through that wall. Sometimes, I like that where you can send them an article or something that's interesting, something information based. These leads are not free. There's a cost. Whether it's a monetary time frame. So let's not just think that they're not worth it. And you cannot look at them in numbers anymore. It's one lead at a time. And if you don't, you got to be able to handle it that way.
Okay, Ruben. So you like I tell people, this sales is a tough business. That's why it's the highest paid business there is. You may have one day that you begin at 9 a.m. and it's 1 p.m. and you keep hitting the wall and not getting anywhere. Get up, go for a walk, go outside, enjoy some fresh air. Remember what your goal is. Remember what you're doing this for. Like Ruben said at the beginning, you need to know what you're trying to get accomplished, and go back at it again. Ruben, how do you feel? Because about immediately trying to schedule either a meet or a Zoom meet to sort of build a face to face. Do you think that's something that realtors and loan officers should be implementing the minute they get that lead, or just keep the communication casual, sterile on email or text? Or do you like, hey, let's jump on a quick Zoom, let's meet each other, let's see if we are fit to work together? What's your take on that?
So absolutely, although we are selling probably somebody's biggest investment, it's a messy business, right? We show a property, they got a 5-year-old kicking you on the knees, you step in dog poop sometimes in the backyard. It's a messy business. So the reality is that we have to do that. One of the groups that have been most successful, and you know who I'm talking about here, with the leads, does that right away. So they make an appointment to go show the property they want to see. Even if the property might have gone pending, they make an appointment. They meet them at the Starbucks nearby, buy them a cup of coffee, shake their hand. If they're meeting you, it's no longer just a lead, it's a prospect, it's a true customer. Now, how you handle it from there, it goes a long way. We our system with that particular group of people was once they met them at a Starbucks typically, wherever or in front of the house that you want to show them, Before that first meeting finished, they already had our application for a loan on their phone and were already in contact with us. Because that way you have everything done right then and there, and you're showing them that you work with a professional group that's going to handle their needs. But absolutely, I would definitely try to get in front of them, whether it's Zoom if they're out of town or in person.
Okay, so you're saying the minute they came in, boom, just hey, pleasure to meet you. Why don't we do something? Why don't we, make this a little bit more formal so so you know who you're talking to? Can I just send you a quick Zoom link so we can meet each other and see if we're a great fit for each other?
One last thing, I guess. I mean, I know we're about to finish up here. So if you call, Mary, and you get her voicemail, leave a message and say, "Hey, Mary, this is Ruben. Give me a call back." Don't say, "Hey, Mary, this is Ruben from CMG Home Loan, which is the sixth largest lender in the country." Da, 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 da. They're never going to call you back. Just say, "Hey, Mary, it's Ruben. Give me a call back when you can." They're going to be curious. Say less
Yeah.
to get them to call you back.
Now Ruben is quoting Hamilton. Say less, do show less. What is it? Say less, smile more.
Yeah.
I just put in the chat for everybody a great text message. Copy, paste it, use it for your replies. It's a great reply for a buyer when a buyer first hits you. Don't be hesitant to reply. Ruben, for those face to face, I know you have an army soldiers, the great loan officers. If anybody from listening to us needs one of your guys to jump and assume. I mean, is that something that you guys will do if you get a text from, Gisela, who's on the Zoom right now? Gisela just got a buyer lead looking to buy at 3-2 in Cooper City. And she's like, I'm going to jump in the Zoom. Can she text any of everybody in your team? And they'll be happy to jump in the Zoom and just do that face-to-face meet.
So we are changing things a little bit here. So just to become more efficient, he said, "Text me." We want everybody because we want to control and count and control the prospects that we get also. Text me and either I will get on the call with you or I will assign a loan officer to you, whoever's available, right? We want to make sure, number one, they speak the language, that they know the market, that they're available, everything. I'd rather give you the right loan officer at the right time than just, anybody.
Okay. And before we wrap this up, because we got about a minute left, I don't know if anybody has any questions, any suggestions, any worries. If anybody's working with a buyer right now that they feel they're being ghosted and they wanna get some advice. Nobody's working with a buyer right now. So mortgage applications are up 27% week over week, and nobody listening to me right now is working with one buyer. I think my next presentation will be how to get a buyer.
Or how not to be shy on Zoom.
How do we not to be shy on Zoom? You think that's the thing? How not to be shy on Zoom?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, the beauty is that you're not in front of me, so no worries. Well, I want to thank everybody that joined us today. We're approaching the holiday season. Christmas is just around the corner for those of us that celebrate Christmas, but there's a bunch of beautiful holidays literally just around the season. And I want to say thank you for everybody that participates. Okay, so somebody just is working with a buyer and they're texting the back for the first time. Awesome. So, ladies, yeah, I can tell you buyers right now are out there more than ever because they keep hearing that this is the best time to pull the trigger on a property because they're going to get the best deal. So awesome. If you need any help on that, send me a message. But yeah, happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody. We're not saying goodbye. We'll be back on next Thursday, the 19th. But I know some of you will begin to travel and all of that. But I just want to thank everybody for your time and attendance. We're gonna send everybody that has attended these seminars in the past a little survey because if you guys want specific topics that you would like for me and Ruben to cover, we will gladly adjust and research on that. But yeah, if there's anything specifically that you want to learn, a specific loan product or a specific case that you're dealing with, we'll be more than happy to assist you with that. So from the bottom of my heart, have a great holiday season, everybody. Ruben?
Well, it's funny. Zureli's just texted that she got her first text back, and she was at our training last Saturday over in Coral Springs, and I think we helped her a little bit with that. So, we can help guys. Look at it. Zureli's a relatively new realtor and is already making progress. Get with us. We've got plenty of experience. We've got plenty of like or that's a lot of boots on the ground. So, we're excited to help you guys and whatever you need, especially following up on the prospects. So, yes, happy holidays to everybody. We'll see you on the 19th, and this is all just practice, guys. It's all just practice.
All right. Bye, everybody. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful weather. Put on your sweaters and get out there. Be
Thank
Take care,
productive.
guys.
you.